Donald Trump has tried to run, he has tried to hide, but it just doesn't work. Not only because every attempt to cover up a scandal or a screw up backfires, but because Trump quite literally can't run. The man has cankles. He is covering up bruises on the daily with more makeup than I knew existed in the Western world, and it is all coming crumbling down. And Donald Trump is aware of it, which is why he just rage posted about a health scandal that Carolyn Leavitt and his White House weren't able to cover up. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into this insane rage post from Trump after he was unable to walk because his health is so bad, I want to start with a call out of another thing Donald Trump is unable to do, which is stay politically popular. It's why he's gerrymandering right now, and Adam Schiff called it out.
Does this tit for tat over redistricting run the risk of undercutting Democrats' credibility in the eyes of voters?
Democrats offered the legislation in the last session to eliminate the gerrymander in every state. We supported, I think, to a person. Republicans, I think, almost to a person, maybe to a person, opposed that. It's very clear what party wants to do away with gerrymandering. But it was interesting to me when you asked J.D. Vance, hey, if your agenda is so popular, why are you trying to gerrymander Texas, a state that is already gerrymandered to elect Republicans? And he didn't try to defend the president's agenda. The president is deeply unpopular, one of the most unpopular presidents in history. His agenda is unpopular. The big ugly bill that is cutting health care for millions to fund tax cuts for rich people is historically unpopular. So, of course, the only way they feel they can survive the midterms is by redrawing the lines in Texas. California is not going to stand for this. We will fight fire with fire. Don't poke the bear, and it's going to be necessary, but I hope what will come out of the end of all of this is where we should have begun, and that was with the Democratic bill to end the gerrymander in every state.
All right.
Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are running from this question because they have no answer to it. They said they won a sweeping mandate and had the most popular and exciting agenda in American history back in 2024. But where is that mandate gone? Donald Trump is unpopular on every issue he says helped him win the election, with Elon Musk hundreds of millions of dollars, which I think was probably a bigger part of it. But this is not an administration that's popular in any way. And for that reason, they are trying to intimidate. And the best example of that is happening right now in D.C. Donald Trump is sending his mass thugs out to disrupt communities, and he's saying it's going to other cities next. One of them, of course, being Baltimore, and it's the reason why Governor Wes Moore called out Trump, and it led to the rage post over his health.
Something that is just purely performative, without actually focusing on these communities and these neighborhoods who believe that progress is possible and who are willing to put in the work, and we're just simply asking for Washington to be able to acknowledge it and support it.
He says you're not presidential timber at all. I imagine you disagree with that assessment?
No, I've been very clear. I'm not running for president. But it's interesting but it's interesting. The president seems to be more concerned about my future than he is about the future of the American people. And that's where I'm asking him to keep his focus. Focus on the things that actually matter right now, which is the fact that his economic policies are driving up prices on everything from electronics to the clothes that we wear to the food that we eat. Talk about the fact that he has immigration policies that are knocking out tens of thousands of jobs in the state of Maryland. Talk about the fact that you are about to kick veterans and seniors off of health care. Don't worry about my future. Worry about theirs.
We need more Democratic governors standing up and calling out Trump. And I am also excited that Governor Moore, after we have been talking about it on this show almost every single day, and I don't think it's because of that, but maybe, says that he is looking into some redistricting to eliminate the only GOP seat in Maryland. But clearly, that is not the only thing that upset Donald Trump, because Wes Moore also called out his health, and it led to a rage-posting meltdown. Trump 79 melts down at being challenged to a walk by Dem 46. The president fumed that Maryland Governor Wes Moore's invitation to perform light cardio was nasty and provocative. Donald Trump huffed and puffed online after Maryland Governor Wes Moore challenged him to walk the streets of his state. The 79-year-old president lashed out on Truth Social on Sunday at Moore's nasty and provocative invitation 3 days earlier to join him for some light cardio in Baltimore, calling the city a crime disaster and and threatening to deploy National Guard troops. As president, I much prefer that he clean up his crime disaster before I go there for a walk, Trump fumed. Westmore's record on crime is a very bad one unless he fudges his figures on crime like many other blue states are doing. But if Westmore needs help like Gavin Newsom did in LA, I will send in the troops, which is being done in nearby DC, and quickly clean up the crime, the president continued. Trump was so angry about the public safety walk invitation that he suggested he may pull federal support for rebuilding the city's Francis Scott Key Bridge, which collapsed last year. In a follow-up post, Trump accused Moore of lying about receiving the Bronze Star, although he was honored with one in 2024. The 46-year-old responded with a pointed jab at the president's health. President Bone Spurs will do anything to get out of walking, even if that means spouting off more lies about the progress we're making on public safety in Maryland, Moore wrote of the older man. He added, "Hey Donald, we can get you a golf cart if that makes things easier. Just let my team know." The golf cart offer seemed targeted. Back in 2017 during a G7 summit in Italy, The Times reported that while the other world leaders took a short walk together to reach the location of a photo op, Trump opted to wait for a golf cart and follow behind them. The White House and Moore didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. Donald Trump's cankles, and let's be honest, his fat, disgusting self, sorry for the body shaming, but when it's the worst man in the world, I think it's a little allowed, cannot go for even a light stroll without collapsing. And there is not any amount of cover-up that can cover up how bad Donald Trump's health is. Just because you splotch a bunch of makeup on your hand doesn't mean we can't see that you are in physical and cognitive decline, Donald. Now, while it makes J.D. Vance really happy, probably, it's something that has MAGA panicking, that young leaders in the Democratic Party are stepping up and calling out Donald Trump. And I just talked with the youngest and my congressman about how he's fighting back against this administration. That was Maxwell Frost, and I hope you enjoy our interview because he has some big, big news. Congressman, after doing some actual investigation and oversight, which Republicans would like to call, just like a tax on our Constitution, for some reason, although it's constitutionally obligated, at Alligator Alcatraz, the disgusting detention facility that Donald Trump has put down in Florida, we saw an important ruling from a judge that is blowing up this attack on really basic human rights. Can you speak more to what is happening because of your work?
Well, and the really exciting thing about this is it's because of the work of so many people and like a coalition. And so obviously we have the plaintiffs that brought the suit forward, Friends of the Everglades, the Miccosukee tribe, which is the tribe that lives throughout the Everglades, and then also the Center for Biological Diversity. So they brought this suit forward saying this internment camp in the middle of the Everglades is really damaging for the Everglades. And so what they asked of us and what we did is many of us did these trips into the facility to collect information. And when we would walk in with binders like this big, man, with tons of questions that we're trying to answer. The time I went just a few days ago, I was looking specifically at the environmental hazards, silt fencing, are there things leaking? How many diesel trucks are they? Are they on the tree line? All this stuff. And that information, we give that to them, or what I did is I put it into the congressional record, which makes it usable in a court of law. A state representative from my district, Anna Eskamani, went actually to South Florida and was a witness in it and talked about what she saw on the record. And all that combined, this decision came out where essentially the place is getting shut down. They can't accept any new people. And in 60 days, they have to tear down, within 60 days, they have to tear down all the fencing, which makes it not usable as a detention center. So that just shows the power of oversight, people suing the hell out of them, which is what we really need to do. And then also using the bullhorn and communicating and talking about what's going on. All that is the recipe for winning in this environment.
Like actually putting your body on the line and going down and doing the work. Of course, we've seen so many people, and rightfully so, call for we need more fighters in the Democratic Party. I think it's farther than that. Like fighting might be like holding a press conference and sending the letter. We need like killers. Like show me the result, get something done. Obviously, Governor Newsom is doing so right now in California.
It's all organizing.
It is.
Right? Like we need organizers.
What would you say like to other of your colleagues who are maybe a little squeamish on going so hard against this administration?
I'd say, look, we all know we don't have all the tools that we want, right? And like when you don't have all the power you want, use all the power you got. The tools of oversight, the power of convening, which could sound a little BS-y, but it's not, right?
It's real, because it's worked.
Because it works, right? When you convene people and you build a strategy together, whether it's through litigation, whether it's through public pressure, you can actually get stuff done. You're not always going to win, right? We've ventured to stop so many things. Some we haven't been successful in yet. some we have been successful in. But you have to throw everything you can at the wall. And usually politicians, like the thought is, let's only engage in something if we think we have a very, very high chance of being successful.
Yeah.
Throw that out the door. If you have a 1% chance of being successful, go do it. Go do it and show people what you're doing. And you might be successful, you might not be successful, but either way, they're trying to overwhelm us. We have to overwhelm them and use every tool that we got.
And part of that hesitancy certainly is also like just a worry about whether we're taking on the right enemies. Like Donald Trump always picks very good enemies. He's going after law firms, universities. Like I know people like Stephen Colbert, but like Stephen Colbert maybe not be the central rallying figure of America. And Donald Trump